Hello and welcome into Zach's Picks. I'm Zach McCullough. It's good to be back for another week of college football. The conference schedule's picked up a little bit, so there are only 9 games, 7 conference games this week, but I'm going to make the most out of them. There are some good games on the docket today, so I'll get right down to picking them. First game is North Texas traveling to take on Missouri. They're not as good as people thought they'd be coming into the season. And they certainly haven't looked as good as they did last year either. So I don't think Missouri's going to play too well coming into this. Missouri's only a 19-point favorite, which is kind of low considering who they're playing. North Texas is not a very good team to say the least. But I still don't think they're going to cover. I think they're going to come out, make mistakes, and look pretty bad. So I don't think they're going to play well. Of course they'll win because of the lack of competition, but it will be ugly and it won't look impressive. Next, we have Vanderbilt traveling to the Swamp to take on 20th-ranked Florida. And Vanderbilt at this point has 2 wins. That's not bad for Vanderbilt, but the way they've won, a last-second field goal over Connecticut and over Colorado State is not impressive. As for Florida, they've looked impressive. You can scratch last week. Last week they looked bad, but they were beat by a good team in Kentucky. So I would say Florida rebounds nicely, and they come out and drill Vanderbilt. They're 38.5-point favorites, which is high for an SEC matchup unless you're playing Vanderbilt. I think they'll cover even with that enormous spread. Next, we have South Carolina traveling to take on Tennessee. Tennessee is a 10.5-point favorite, and this is a sneaky good matchup. I think it'll be a close game for a little bit, but in the end, I think Tennessee, they've improved since the beginning of the season. They didn't look all that impressive against Bowling Green or Pittsburgh, but they're starting to get better, ever so slightly. They drilled Missouri last week. I think they'll end up running away with this one, winning by 3 touchdowns at least, and they'll cover. Next, we have Oklahoma traveling to take on Texas and Dallas. This is the Red River rivalry. It's always been a good game, no matter how overmatched one team might appear to be. Last year, Oklahoma were struggling. They were struggling, and this is the game that really set them on fire, leading them to the current win streak that they are on. So I would say Oklahoma is going to come out here, look impressive. I would say it's going to be a game of runs, one team scoring a few touchdowns, followed by the other team scoring a few touchdowns. And Oklahoma's a 10-point favorite. I think that's a little high just considering that every year this game's back and forth. I think it'll be an excellent game, like I said. And I don't think Oklahoma's going to cover, but in the end, I think they win by about 4 points. Next game is Penn State, Iowa. College Game Day would have been here if not for marketing issues. This game's going to be on Fox, not ESPN, which is why Game Day instead chose to go to Dallas. So I think this game between 4th-ranked Penn State and 3rd-ranked Iowa is going to be a hard-fought defensive struggle. And in the end, I think it's going to be a home field advantage that really matters. Iowa's a 2.5-point favorite. I think they come out here and win. I like the spread. I like Iowa by about a field goal. And the only reason they win is because of that home field advantage. I think if this were played in Beaver Stadium, opposite result. I think Penn State would win there. But for this game, I think it's going to be the home crowd, the friendly confines, that makes a difference. Next, we have LSU traveling to take on Kentucky, who's rocketed into the national spotlight after beating Florida last week. LSU, they looked okay. They didn't play bad. They didn't play good against Auburn. Their defense was simply sluggish. They didn't do a very good job of tackling Bo Nix, as you could tell if you watched some of those highlights. So I would say at this point, Kentucky's in very good shape to come out here and win. They're only a 3-point favorite. I think they easily cover that, and Kentucky is going to cruise to a very nice victory. Next, we have an interesting matchup, a couple of teams that were unbeaten and looking pretty until Alabama and Georgia, respectively, destroyed them. And so this is a matchup between Arkansas and Ole Miss. The game's in Oxford. So this is going to be an interesting matchup. If you look at it, both teams, like I said, got destroyed last week. And usually that results in some prolonged effects and they won't play very well. I would say Ole Miss is not going to play good. I think Arkansas will play a lot better than Ole Miss. And I think there will be a lot of mistakes made, a sloppy game. Ole Miss is a 6.5-point favorite, and I think that's a little high. I don't think they'll cover. As a matter of fact, I don't think they'll win. I've got Arkansas winning here by a touchdown, just because. And you've seen it with Florida this year. Alabama beat them, though it wasn't impressive, and Florida hasn't recovered yet. So imagine how long it's going to take Ole Miss to recover after getting trounced like they did last week. Next, we have the aforementioned Crimson Tide of Alabama traveling to take on Texas A&M, who has suddenly found themselves unranked. Alabama is ranked top in the nation. Alabama's a 17.5-point favorite. I think that's surprisingly low considering where it usually is against an unranked team. I think Alabama's going to come out here, look impressive, and cover. And why I think that, even with Jason McClellan going down to a season-ending knee injury, Alabama is the best team in America, rivaled only by Georgia. And I can't wait to see that game in Atlanta, because that's going to be an excellent matchup, which is why I think both teams need to maintain focus heading into the remainder of their seasons and not look forward to Atlanta, because that game isn't even guaranteed yet. And that brings me into the next team I'm picking. It's Georgia. They're traveling to play Auburn, the loveliest village on the plains. Auburn's ranked 18th. Georgia is second. And Georgia's a 14.5-point favorite. And you have to think, one of two things could happen. The magic of Jordan-Hare could work and Auburn upsets Georgia, or Georgia comes out here and drills them. I think it's the latter here. I think Georgia's going to end up winning just because I think Georgia is on a very good streak right now. I think this is probably the best season I've seen them have in a long time. I mean, every year you have people saying Georgia's back, they're going to challenge Alabama. This year, that's the chance for them to do that. The best chance they're probably going to have for a long time. And I think if they can overcome Auburn and some of the other better conference teams, that will help them. So I have Georgia winning here, and convincingly, I think they cover. That's all I have for you this week, folks. It was excellent to be picking games again. Next week, I'll be doing the same, and I want to thank the Daily Mountain Eagle for hosting me. It's always good to be here. And I just want to say enjoy today's games and have a good day.